But yeah, coming into this one, for everyone to know, we're kind of straying off the path from our typical agenda and schedule, how we normally do things. We're going to ease back on, I guess, the comedic value and the goofy shit we kind of talk about. You guys understand, obviously, the ones who listen. But we just thought it was important on our end to not stay silent with the matter of like the civil rights movement that's happening, the George Floyd issue, and just Black Lives Matter in general. So we just wanted to just sit down for one dedicated episode and just talk about the world as it is right now and what's happening with society, and went from state to the whole nation up until it went global. So I mean,
it went from city to state to
City,
fucking
state
like
to-
it literally it was a small like ignition to ignite a flame greater than anyone could have ever imagined.
Oh, yeah. It's incredible, honestly. And like everyone, I think at this point, because I've been posting on my own personal stuff pretty hardcore, voicing my opinions and my thoughts and everything on the whole aspect. So I think you guys understand kind of where I sit at this point, which at least I would assume so.
Yeah.
But we wanted to sit down together, us competent idiot dudes, and just talk about the issues and the matters. And like I said, everything, the kind of chaos that's kind of risen, and things are a little eased back now with the aspect of the city at least not being on fire. But I guess it's a thing, like, I guess not to bring in like other people, but like Dr. Lupo, who's a streamer, just wanted to bring like an aspect of conversation he had, which I thought was really cool. Is like, he was saying his biggest fear was as soon as like this either slows down with the conversation or stops and kind of gets maybe not pushed away, but like isn't continuously talked about and acknowledged, that his biggest fear is that it just goes back to the way it was.
Yeah, and everything gets forgotten.
Everything gets forgotten.
To get pushed underneath the rug.
Because that's the trend with social media.
Absolutely.
Well,
I mean,
and just
we see Coney 2012, that type of situation where there's the biggest ordeal throughout. Exactly.
Ebola and-
you know, all these big ordeals that are over social media, change everything, do this, do that, and then they just sort of dissipate and lose momentum.
yeah, absolutely. And just even social matters in society alone, I think a lot of shit. Well, I think a big reason why everything happened the way it did is because everything was pushed on the rug, everything was shooed away, everything was essentially heard but not listened,
Out
so
of
nothing
sight, out of
happened.
mind.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Right.
If this problem isn't my problem specifically, then it seemed as if, well, then it's not a problem. And that was a huge thing with what happened, but I think it's just, in general, societal issues. It happens all the time, which is super fucked up.
I mean, there's people, it gets tiring to hear, like, had the conversation a little while ago, and it was, oh, this isn't just about George Floyd. Like, why did it have to start with George Floyd, right?
Right, I keep hearing that too.
And it's like, it didn't start with George. It was the fucking straw that broke the camel's back.
The absolute last straw.
Like, it continues to happen. And it's been happening so fucking long.
So long. And it's frustrating when they say, like, why did it people almost had the mindset like this came overnight, and then say, why did it have to happen with George Floyd? It's like, well, then if you continue to look at the movement and everything that was going on, people were expressing through every black individual who was murdered by police because of police brutality, and, you know, so on and so forth. So it was not, obviously George Floyd was acknowledged, rightfully so, but it was along with every other victim that's happened too. So it's just weird to have somebody say, you know, why did it happen with him? Well, it didn't. I mean, it's been in your face for so long. Our whole lifetime since, 28 years, it's been there. And we've seen it. Now it's so much more obviously documented and recorded now, which I think is a good thing.
Absolutely.
As much as I hate media, and I think a lot of people live through their phones and shit, but it's almost a blessing and a curse at that point.
Absolutely.
That it is being, because I don't know who said it. Who the hell? Will Smith? He said racism never stopped. It's just been recorded.
Yeah.
What was it?
Yeah.
Racism's not getting more.
It's not getting
just
worse.
It's just being recorded.
Yep.
That was his quote, I believe.
Yep. Yeah. No, you're right. Thank you for correcting me on that. But yeah, for me, I mean, for you guys to know, if you don't already, I stand with Black Lives Matter. 100%. And I've something changed in me personally when everything going on. This was like, it was, I mean, a full-on civil rights movement that we've, like, this is the first time we've ever lived through it. And we've seen protests and shit before with police brutality and innocent black individuals being murdered by police over literally almost no reason behind it.
Absolutely.
But something hit different with this one. I've never seen so many people reach out and voice and acknowledge everything.
And it's like big shit when, celebrities, whatever, entertainers are like, I don't give a fuck if you don't support me. I don't need your money, and I don't give a fuck if I lose a job over this or fucking cancel me. Fuck you.
Yeah.
This isn't about money.
No.
Well, and that's the
This
crazy
is about
thing
fucking human beings, all of us.
Is like we're living in a cancel culture right now, and that's what the people mainly feared, and like celebrity status would fear was the cancel culture. But now this is even pushing that away. Which
now it's if you don't fucking say something, you're canceled. You're canceled either way. So fucking stand up for somebody.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fuck you.
It's completely changed so many things in so many ways so quickly. So it's just it's all. Personally, I get speechless to even try to talk about it because it's like there's so many things have happened. It's changed so much. Like I said, so quickly. It's like it's hard to describe truly the spread of this movement.
The full spectrum of everything.
And I mean, we've talked we've completely got to the point where it does not bother me, and I will not sleep over it if somebody unfollows me on a social media or whatever. Like if I lose somebody like acquaintance or a friend or even family members.
Don't be afraid to fucking say you're a piece of shit.
I won't lose sleep if I lose those people in my lives. And this is about human fucking rights.
That's one thing we kind of talked about with even doing this episode in general was we know that this is a talking point. This is a point of diversion, and we understand what's going to come from it.
Yeah, who fucking cares? If you don't like where we stand, see you later. You
say two silences.
We don't hate you, but also fuck you.
But that's the thing is like every single person is doing this. Everyone, we all it's not just like a one-off thing. Every other podcast, other people
everybody
in general,
should be talking about it.
Everyone is doing this for there's a reason why. It's not just a publicity stunt. There's a reason why people are doing this. Mm-hmm. And everyone's got their own agenda. Everyone's got their own opinion on what they think and what blah, blah, blah. But when it comes down to it, we're going to do what we feels right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just talking about it feels right. I mean, I've been very vocal alone, but a lot of people are, a lot of things were said about if you're silent, you're kind of on the side of the oppressor, which makes sense to me because if you don't voice it, you're not acknowledging that's even a problem.
Exactly.
And I get it. A lot of people don't like conflict. They don't like drama. They don't like confrontation. I mean, I don't know many people who enjoy that to begin with, but sometimes you just have to just puff your chest up and face an issue to fix it, to change it.
And personally, I mean, I do understand that there are some areas where it's like it's a little more difficult to make that decision. I understand that there are people that are fighting in their heads quite a bit on what they need to do. And it's all right to have a fucked up mental state right now. It truly is. Because there's a lot going on. And it's not easy in general. You could be losing the people you care most about in your life. You could be, people that you've been with your entire life. And all of a sudden, this happens. And now you're truly learning about what's going on around you. And you have to make those choices on who's going to be those people to keep around.
Yeah.
It's a very difficult time.
I think a lot of people found out truly where people's values and morals stand. And I think that everyone it seemed like a lot of people just went wide-eyed for once. Opened up ears, opened up their eyes, listened, examined, evaluated, acknowledged shit. And it was just wild.
And even just the self-evaluation.
Self-evaluation's huge.
From so many people.
Yeah.
Because I had... It's embarrassing to say, and everybody has those family members, but it's
unfortunately.
I came across somebody in the family, like a second or third cousin, some bullshit, and he's a truck driver, and the truck on 35W thing happened, and it was we're carrying these supplies that you fucking people need, and blah blah blah, and if you try and prevent us from doing our route or this, that, and the other thing, we ain't stopping, was basically what it was. And another person from the family decided, it was a female too, and it was like, oh, I suppose I should go get my CDL. Which to me, like, I read that as that gives me a reason to go run somebody over, and I was just like, fuck you and fuck you.
Yep.
You guys are fucking piles of flaming hot dog shit.
Well, yeah, and it's insane that people have any mindset like that. Like, regardless, because the thing was, people were trying to back this driver for one, like, oh, the highway was open. But then you see footage from that bridge, like, there was miles worth of cars that were stopped, turning around off, and there was police barricading off some of that highway.
Yep.
The dude knew.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, regardless if that whole highway was completely opened, I mean, the pedestrians have a right of way, for one. So it's like that goes thrown out the window for these people's points, almost. But it's like, regardless, to be on a highway or not, as an individual walking the highway, to be on a highway or not, saying that you will still run somebody over because they shouldn't be on that, you just have no regard for human life then.
No.
You just don't give a shit.
No.
You care about yourself and getting to point A to point B as a truck driver. So you have no regard for
I don't
life.
even think it's that. I
No,
think
I don't think so either.
it's somebody just trying to flex a fucked up power trip that they're assuming that they have.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Absolutely.
You know, it's like I honestly don't think for that situation that these people really necessarily even give two shits about getting their product from point A to point B. I think it's they want to be that percentage of person that just like is against the vast majority. You know, you have those people that are just like, in a sense, devil's advocate. They don't necessarily have a full reason of why they want to be against that person. It's just that person is doing what a vast majority is already doing. So they just immediately don't like it. And it's like, they want to just, well, I got a fucking 18-wheeler. I don't give a fuck. I'll run you over. Like, that just... Listen to that statement. Like, that's just so fucked up.
So fucked up.
Well, when I was working at a gas station, this was way before, this is back when I was just out of high school. I was talking to a truck driver, and he goes, there's only one thing we stop for. It's not animals. It's not humans. It's just babies. They're the only people that don't have a conscience to actually know to not be out in the road. That's what his saying was. His was, we will not... A child is the only thing we won't stop for. Because if you're an adult in the middle of the highway... that was his aspect on it. That was his
that you
point
should know better.
That you should know better. That's literally like, which, yes, exactly.
Well, the thing with when people protest on highway, it's not the fact just to block traffic to be on the highway. It's because people it's perspective, and people never dabble into the more detailed understanding of perspective behind things. It's like people want you to understand what it feels like to be backed into a corner. Have you feel like, I don't know where to go from here. Like, that's how, like, the black community feels when they live their daily lives. I don't know who to turn to, and I have cops killing me.
Imagine growing up
what do I do?
And like we were just talking about before this, you grow up and your parent and your dad or your mom is like, make sure you only wear a white t-shirt because, don't wear red, don't wear blue. Make sure you don't have fresh sneakers on. Make sure you only spend fucking 5 to 10 minutes in the store, get what you need, and get the fuck out. Mm-hmm. Don't walk too close to somebody. Or walk on the other fucking side of the street. Like,
don't wear your hood up.
Don't wear a hood up. Don't fucking tint your windows. Don't have subwoofers because you love music and you love to hear bass.
Yeah.
Make sure all your taillights are working. Make sure all your headlights are working. Make sure your car isn't too fucking loud. Dude, there's like all these rules and regulations for these people in an attempt just to not die.
And it's just because their skin color's different.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Not to mention,
that a parent has to explain that to a child.
Yeah, not to mention that we had to fuck it, like, white people as a whole, and like obviously slavery's been a thing for almost forever, but it's like, dude, we literally took ships to their country, rounded them up, took them, and whatever ones were left alive that didn't die on the fucking journey back here were just sold and used like animals. Like, for anybody that doesn't see that as a giant humanitarian like fucking problem, that's the problem.
Well, and then I'm back to the truck driving thing a little bit and standing on the highways. one thing, a more simpler aspect of it is they have that many people and to show that this many people are in support of this. You can't just be at a park. You can't to have just the concept of there's so many people involved. You need a bigger space to show it. And to be on a highway to show how much of this highway has got people on it to support a cause. How much of this highway is being blocked off by just a person that takes up probably a 2 by 2 foot at max square footage area is taking down miles and miles and miles of space. It's like you said, perspective. It shows how many people are truly backing one situation to show the world like this isn't just a one-off, you know. And that, I mean, it's not. I mean, even just to show, like you said, the back in the corner thing, but just even to simplify it, it's like they need the space to show. They need to be able to tell people this is not just 10 people hanging out in front of a building. This is not just 100 people. This is not just 1,000. It's tens of thousands of people out there, and it's not just in one city. It's to show unity between the cities, to show you're not alone. We have more of us out here. We want you to know the world has your back on this type of situation. I mean, there's pictures from like the UK all over the place of like the guy. What's the guy from Star Wars?
John?
Yeah. I don't know actors' names. Sorry, actors and actors. I'm
like
horrible at it.
Bodega or
But
Something
pictures of
along
him out
so
there,
cool.
and he
Hell yeah.
knows for
Such
a
a
fact
dude.
that this could, you know, he's got his career going, everything's going great, and this could be a thing where he gets, you know, the name of itself blacklisted, but he doesn't care. When it comes down to it, there's something more important, and that's it.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Colin Kaepernick started 4 or 5 years ago. He used his stage, which he knew millions of people would watch. It's football. It's
And
the biggest thing in
notice.
America, and notice. So he took his stage, probably well knowing that his job most definitely is going to be affected, which it 100% did.
Oh yeah.
But that's why he took a knee. And it was peaceful. It was just like people sitting on a road. It's peaceful. People holding signs in a Central Park or a huge intersection.
You know how
But
peaceful-
no matter how peaceful or what protest way it was done, it was always wrong. Nope, can't
It
do
was-
that.
yeah, it
Nope,
was
can't
the
do
wrong
that. Nope,
thing.
can't do that.
To just put in perspective of how peaceful it is, the fact that those people who pulled that truck driver out of his fucking truck didn't murder him,
Yep.
the amount of composure and like fight that they have for this cause to not just, I mean, I'm sure they roughed him up,
I'm sure he got
'Cause
roughed
fuck
up a
that
little
guy.
bit, but I mean, he just tried to run over a
but
group
to
of civilians.
to physically not have so much rage and hatred in your body when you're pulling this guy out that just tried to run over you and countless other people and not fuck him up to the point of death is incredible.
Well, there's another
Yeah,
that alone stands for something.
there's another
Yeah,
instance
absolutely.
of that where the one cop got separated from his squad and
And they
people barricaded
yeah.
around him and made sure that he would be okay. This isn't about like everyone's got their agendas on it, but all it matters and when it comes down to it is everybody needs to love everybody. And I know it's a
It's a
saying
human
from
thing.
a silly movie, you know, Tropic, whatever the Will Ferrell movie, but he says, you know, at one point, you know, everybody love everybody, but honestly, it's true. You know, it's just treat everyone with some common decency. Everyone just care. Everyone just show that human beings in general are human beings. We all bleed. We all need to love each other. We all need to care about each other. We all need to support each other and back each other and get past hate and anger. We need
Yeah.
to-
It's one of those things that
everybody love.
that is for us that's easy, right? Like we're all pretty
Yeah.
on board with that.
Yes.
Yep.
But it's also one of those things for a lot of people that's easier said than done, I feel like.
Right, yeah.
Because there's
yeah.
so many people who are inherently like growing up with people telling them that, you know, this race of people doesn't matter or they're mooching off the system, which is fucking hilarious to me. Don't get me wrong. There are people that do that,
Yeah,
but that's broad spectrum.
very.
And me and Dalton had this conversation the other day when we were at work. It's like, you expect somebody that's been oppressed for all these years to want to contribute to a government
A society.
and a society that continuously will not ever back them. They are last in line. They are underfunded. They are undereducated. Like, all these things. So however many, whatever, do sell drugs or something. Or just in general, do something off the books. Of course they're going to fucking do that. Why would you give half of your fucking paycheck to somebody who's fucking constantly beating the shit out of you?
Yeah, in a government that wants you to live in a poverty neighborhood. Like,
Yeah.
that's where they want you to be, in more of a poverty
Yeah,
dominant
because
neighborhood.
if you expand into this neighborhood, well, now this neighborhood's worth less.
Devalues for
somehow.
some fucking reason?
And maybe, I'm not saying I'm the most educated person on this.
No, and I'm not either.
I haven't
just,
done a fuck ton of research.
We do our best to, with the knowledge that we have and the ability that we have.
But it's like, of course
We're always learning.
they're going to do it fucking trying to get tax-free. Fuck, I want to do that.
would. I
Fuck,
fucking right now would.
I would love to do that. I just don't have the fucking testicles to do it.
No.
So it's like, it's when people come at me with the, oh, they're just mooching off the system. There's plenty of fucking white people that do it.
Plenty of fucking
So
white
don't
people.
make it a fucking color thing.
And that's-
because it's not
color. It's a
It's a
mindset.
individual's mindset of, this is easier, and I don't give a fuck. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's just hard times.
Sometimes
That's
it's
what
hard
it was
times.
created for. People are on
Right.
hard times.
Right.
But it's very easy to go, well, if I just don't work, it'll get figured out. Like, that shit's fucking bananas.
it's-
Or if I just have kids and don't work,
Right.
it'll get figured out.
Yep.
They won't let these kids, not grow up and have a future. They'll be forced to take some sort of action. Which is fucking crazy.
The thing with when people give the immediate stereotype, like, well, they're just mooching off the system and shit like that. Like, for a wide spectrum of, like, the issue, if you happen to be a skin color of white, what I kept trying to point and view on Facebook and throughout the social media is, like, understand the other perspective. Like, if you happen to be white, I have no fucking idea what it's like to live in the shoes of a black person. I don't understand the daily fear they have, what they go through with police, everything.
And we never will.
We never will. And I know that I don't understand that. So as a skin color, I happen to be white. I need to, with my absolute open heart and ability, to be able to understand, listen, and know that perspective, know that side. I have to put myself in the shoes of them. And a lot of people don't want to do that because it's like, well,
It takes too much
it takes too much
ability.
cognitive ability. And it's like, well, then a lot of what I feel is like, well, if I don't acknowledge that problem because that problem isn't negatively affecting me, it's not a problem. Well, that's as big as a fucking problem as the actual problem itself because nothing changes, nothing gets fixed.
It adds more division.
If you learn, just learn and listen to somebody who's black. If you have black friends, just sit there and listen to them.
Listen to a couple stories.
Listen to some experience, some stories, their background, what happened. Learn the culture. I mean, there's so much shit that you don't. It's just everything's just based on assumptions, and it's like it's perspective, and people do not want to look at the other side of somebody else's world, which is fucking asinine to me.
And it freaks me out because, like, Bree's stepdad, basically like father-in-law, type
Yeah,
deal.
absolutely.
Like, I fucking love him.
Love that guy.
He's a great man.
He's a
And
great dude.
absolute great man.
And it's fucking terrifying to think that, oh, they could say his van lights didn't work. He's out on a job. And that same exact thing could happen to him.
Yeah.
Regardless of if he's keeping his hands still or not moving or whatever the fuck. Because you have a right to fucking ask why the fuck, And, like, that's the other thing is, like, cops never give you a fucking answer.
Never. Nope.
I mean, in all of my even in my experiences, they never give you a fucking actual direct answer. Mm-hmm. It's just do what I say. Well, fuck you and tell me what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, first of all, what happened here?
You don't get to just fucking do this.
No.
And then not say anything and start fucking ripping out your taser and because all of a sudden I'm a fucking potential threat. Are you fucking kidding? Mm-hmm. Like, tell me what the fuck is going on here and why you're justifying doing what the fuck you're doing.
Right.
but they don't have to, apparently.
Apparently.
So it's like, it's fucking terrifying. It is fucking terrifying to just be killed because your skin is dark.
Yep.
Doesn't matter the shade of darkness. You're not white, so I can't fucking trust you. Like, what?
What?
What the fuck is going on?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, how many posts have you seen, and how many people do we know that are in the military where they literally have to carry around a fucking basically a printed notepad with all these fucking steps that they have to go through in a war zone, in a fucking war zone, remind you. Not just your everyday civilian fucking life, in a fucking war zone where all types of shit could be popping off. But they have to know and remember these steps before they can ever attempt to use fucking fire and use lethal force. If there's a fucking vehicle barreling towards them with known explosives, they have to try and stop the vehicle.
Yep.
They don't shoot for the guy that's fucking driving it. They have to disable the vehicle. And if shit escalates up beyond that, then there's another step.
Yep.
There's no fucking steps for fucking half of the police.
No.
And I maybe I just don't know.
Well, that's
And
something
that could
I
be
want to
too.
preference too, is that, you know, we aren't police officers. We aren't in the military. We don't know exactly, you know, the exact everything, but this is what we do know. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I just
that's
know
what I'm saying.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying with what cops are doing, especially through this whole civil rights
Yeah,
movement, is completely fucking wrong.
We aren't complete experts. So,
And I'm not saying
Yeah.
it goes back to like, yeah, there are cops. Not all cops are bad.
No.
But the ones who don't fucking stand up and say, dude, this guy's a fucking crooked piece of shit. Like, you're still the fucking problem.
That's the problem. That's what
you
people-
might not be.
yeah.
You might not be a bad cop, but
if
you're
you
being
do-
a bad human.
If you do not step up out of your role as a police officer, and that's what you say, you can't just lump the good ones with the bad apples. But you can if that good apple does not
Just
stand
turns
up.
a blind eye.
Turns a blind eye. If they do nothing for what's happening,
They are a bad
they
apple.
are also a bad apple. If you are not, when it just comes, like you said, it's being a good human being at that point.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a heart and a soul and you know right from wrong, and if you are morally in the right place, you should do whatever you can to stop that.
Because
I think that's such
your
a
sole
big problem.
purpose is justice. Protect and serve and bring justice.
Yep.
You're not doing that by letting some fucking dickhead plant evidence, wrongfully accuse somebody, put their fucking knee on your neck.
Yeah, and like the 3 with George Floyd, they watched that dude for 8 fucking minutes.
Which makes them just as fucking bad as as the dude who killed him.
I don't give a shit that you weren't the one that killed that guy, but you're just as bad.
Yeah,
You
you're
are-
an accessory to that shit
you are
because you
accessory.
just decided that wasn't a big deal.
Yep.
Like, it's fucking disgusting. At bare minimum, it's almost fucking embarrassing to be white sometimes.
Absolutely. And then people will argue the fact, well, it's not a race thing, it's a corrupt thing. I will tell you that corruption is 100% there. I will not argue that because it is there. It's visibly there with the government, with police, with a lot of shit. The media, there's so much corruption in the fucking world. It's gross. But it's like, how do you tell me it's not a race thing when we've seen what we've been seeing through fucking decades? But for an example, when that black police officer accidentally shot and killed that woman, complete accident, there was no hesitation. He was arrested. However long it took, he was tried, went to prison for a long fucking time. This dude murders a dude in broad daylight, choked him out for 8 minutes, recorded. And
Got fired.
And that's all it was going to be, as a fired. If what happened didn't happen with the protesting, which some escalated into rioting, which if you understand how everything happened from decades prior, you can understand why things happened the way it did. But it's like, if that wouldn't have happened, these cops wouldn't have been charged. And those 3 would have just still had their jobs. The one cop, whatever his name,
Derek Chauvin.
murdered George Floyd would have been fired. And the other 3 would have just been doing their thing still.
And
every night.
Minneapolis PD would have got sued.
That's it.
And that's, and maybe Derek wouldn't have been able to work in the police force ever. But there's a slim chance that he would have actually been convicted of whatever degree murder and actually been prosecuted. Like, and like even the Breonna Taylor stuff, it's like, dude, she was a fucking medic. She went to school to be a fucking medic. And shoot her while she's sleeping? Like, what? Wait, what?
And then they arrested her boyfriend or whatever he was to her significantly. They arrested him for it. But apparently, through some things I've read, that they reopened that case, and then I think he got charges dropped on his end or something. I haven't really read into it. I could be completely wrong on that. I don't know. Don't quote me. But it's like, how can you look somebody in the face and say it's not a race thing? Look at what we've seen in our lifetime even.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. It's fucking crazy because, like, I was showing you Stray from the Path.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And they put that album out a while ago. But, dude, because I had picked up a T-shirt from them.
Yeah.
And the funds go. And it's fuck them, no justice, right? And that's
Yep.
like a big lyric in their song. And they have one that's like, trained to never trust us. So where the fuck is the justice?
Yep.
And like, dude, that is never fucking rung so loud.
No way.
Like, until like right now. Like, don't get me wrong, it's Straight from the Path. If you fucking don't listen to them, if you're not into heavy music or whatever, like, it's still worth a listen. Or
at least read the lyrics.
Yeah, read the lyrics. Like,
Yeah.
It just fucking rang so loud, and I was like, it makes you fucking sad.
It does.
That's really what
And
happens.
the no justice, no peace thing was so awesome that how so many people riled on that so hard because there hasn't been peace because there's
No.
never been justice. So it's like,
And to be fair, there shouldn't be. There shouldn't be until this is fucking
No, it
figured
shouldn't
out
be.
and squared away. And even if it takes fucking 5 years, 10 years, I don't care how long it takes.
No.
Fucking let it fucking buck,
Nope.
dude.
And like
all this shit can be rebuilt. It can.
Absolutely.
It's all half of it's all insured.
yep,
Like,
It's
all
all
that
material.
shit can be replaced.
you can't bring back any of the lives that were lost
No.
due to police brutality at
No.
all.
To the whole situation in general.
No.
And like
Like,
George Floyd, I think finally got some justice with that dude being his sentence got bumped up to second degree, but they didn't want to go first because then he was able to.
Yeah, he would be
He was
able
able
to
to walk in
And
or
that-
whatever,
that's one
and the other
thing
guys got
that's
arrested.
very important.
Yep.
But like now, it's getting justice for all the other ones that never got justice for, which is moving on, keep going through it. But it's like even if all justice was served, it shouldn't. The civil rights movement, I don't think needs to then end. It still needs to
Right.
be talked about. It still needs to be pushed because then it's the racism, it's the discrimination, it's the social inequality that the black community faces so hard every damn day. It's like that needs to be fixed. I mean,
Well-
it's all overall is what everyone's fighting
and
for.
that's one thing it's gonna be a long haul on that one for sure, because that drives down to people that were raised
generations.
generations that
Yeah.
were raised to think a certain way or a certain it's gonna be a long process because it's not just you can make a law being like you can't do this, you can't do that, but when it comes down to it, it's gonna be a process of nonstop education.
Just education.
Right.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
learning, just trying your best to be a better person and it's impossible to fully put yourself in someone else's shoes. It's not a capability that is even thought of until they get a million years into the future and you can literally feel someone else's feelings or something, like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like some sci-fi stuff. But when it comes down to it, it's going to be a process that needs to be worked on for a very long time due to the fact that there's been so much like programming into people, kids, everything like that.
You're not born a
Absolutely.
racist. You're taught racism.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing. It's gonna be a process. It's gonna be something that's gonna take some time, but it's on the right path. Just
It is.
and
Hopefully it keeps fucking
it's just-
crushing through.
yeah,
I hope it does. I really do.
it needs to be like it's hard to get words to describe like the actual like
Yeah.
I'm not the best at this.
No, it's all
You
right.
guys all know me for not being the serious one. You guys all know me for being the joking one. So I'm doing my absolute best here, and it's very difficult. I'm trying. I really am to not be the joke artist that I am.
It's also hard. Like in the time that we were all brought up, right? It's like, even for me, like if somebody wants to argue with me, I have a hard time face-to-face arguing. I just don't comprehend the information that's being fucking thrown at me so fast. So like I'm very much I have to like read a text so that it can formulate.
Yeah.
Like,
Evaluate
a
that.
proper
digest
sentence.
it, like actually
Yeah,
fully-
because-
Just evaluating
Because
processing.
if
for a
I was
second.
to go, if you wanted to argue with me about something, which it's probably shown on here before, it's like I'm not going to give you a very good answer because like me and you were talking about yesterday, it's like a lot of stuff just kind of comes out willy nilly off the top of the head. You don't have it. You don't get to proofread what you're going to say.
No.
And they always say think before you speak, but how long does the next person, that you're arguing with want to fucking sit there and stare at your face while you try and comprehend what the hell has just happened? Like it's difficult, right? So like, and I'll be the first one to tell you, I never think before I speak for most things.
Guilty over here for that.
I'm a little guilty there as well.
And,
You guys have seen it firsthand with me.
and that's something like you try and work on, but like unless it's one of those things that is constantly happening, it's hard to work on. So I see where you're going with not being able to formulate, because you don't want to say the wrong thing.
You don't want your stuff taken out of context.
You don't want it. Yeah. So it's like you're just sitting there silent for what feels like too long.
That's literally been me during this podcast. Like I'm trying to formulate a sentence here that I can actually project what I'm thinking without any like side context coming through or anything like that. Like I want to make sure, because like my brain's programmed to be relaxed and be very goofy and just that's how I've always been. That's how I am, and that's why getting really serious and just thinking of it on the fly, you can hear me starting to stutter. You can hear me starting to try to, I'll start repeating what I'm saying because I'm trying to really formulate something, and it's very, and that's one thing that, it needs to be worked on in general, not just with me, but in the world itself, is not impulse screaming, not just, just saying something to say it. Really think what your words mean. Really think what your actions mean. Really think about what's going to happen, because it doesn't just affect you. It can affect anyone around you.
Absolutely.
It can really hurt or help anyone around you. And it could go any way on it, just by, like, for instance, in texting and stuff like that, where you're meaning one thing, but you had one wrong punctuation, and next thing you know, you're in a full-blown scream match with somebody because what you said wasn't what you meant, but that's how they took it. And that's the hard, especially in being, we've all admitted, we're white. Being white, trying to say what we mean, but it could come off in such a wrong way just by the way we emphasize one word.
Yep.
And we don't it's hard.
It is. I mean, people will take shit out of context every time, because people
it's just
like
a normal thing.
People like to deconstruct and weaponize how they want to view what you've said. Like, for an instance, so the nice thing with me on Facebook too, because I'm similar to you guys, when I get in, like, it happened last night with a certain situation where, like, in person, you get flustered, you kind of lose your track of thought, you can't process and evaluate in, like, the moment. Like, so it was nice on Facebook because, like, I'd argue with people, but I was never hostile or anything. I wanted to be calm, professional, cool about it, and just be a decent human being, because I think people need to be able to conversate even if you have different views. That's how things change. That's how your perspectives can be seen. It's just listening and being able to conversate in a very constructive way. But the one post I had was, like, it was something along the lines, if you're more upset about the rioting and looting over the death of George Floyd, then, you're part of the problem. And immediately everyone took that out of context. And it was plain as day right there. That context was right there. And everyone, right away, I was like, how can you be... You're not upset. You can be upset about both. Why are you not upset about the writing? I was like, listen. And I reiterated over and over. I had to reword, but put the same context what I'm trying to say over and over again. But it was nice because I was able to just keep reevaluating, take my time, think for a second. But you can't take it. They're going to take it out of context. So I'd immediately try to bring that context back in. I was like, you can be upset about both.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm more upset about the murder of an innocent black guy than I am about Target burning.
Yeah, I don't care about Target.
And at this point,
Target doesn't even care about Target.
The more it got into it, overall, I really wasn't upset at all about rioting and the buildings and burning, because you sit back, because everyone just like, oh, they're burning shit. Why? How could you do this? Again, perspective. Look back, understand everything prior to this day. That everything has happened.
We're still not
understand
being heard.
Why it happened.
What do I have to do to get what do I have to do to get the microphone around here? I will burn your fucking city down
Yeah.
for the fact that half of it was built on free fucking labor.
Free back labor.
Well, and the thing, like, for me with the whole, like, burning things down and stuff is I think it's like the building the corporation itself was less of the worry and more of, like, that's people's, you know, jobs and stuff like that. And that's where it hit me was like, if I was working at a place, this is my livelihood, this is how I'm making my money and how I'm supporting my family. Now I have to find something else. That's where I can see where people are a little bit upset about that.
But that it's almost putting their personal problems over a much bigger problem.
Yeah.
And that's where I find
and
the
Lupo
issue.
said some good shit where he's like, if it means you don't have a job for a little bit so that, you know, a group of people can literally be free in the land of the free.
Equal just as long with yourself.
Yeah. Then fuck your job.
Yeah.
Fuck you and your job.
Yeah.
You know, or maybe not fuck you. Maybe that was a little aggressive. But fuck your job, man. Because you should be right there with them. And at the end of the day, all this stuff's going to need to be rebuilt.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but, you know, maybe instead of being a cashier, maybe it turns you into a fucking carpenter and you learn some things, man. Like maybe in the midst of all this, you can grow as a person, grow your knowledge of everything.
That bright side of change.
Yeah.
You know,
like all this stuff. And here's the thing. We work in construction. We know that there's not enough people.
Oh yeah.
We know that's a thing. Mm-hmm. So maybe that could also help shift.
yes. But that's the thing people don't talk about, you know, and that's
they don't
why
want to talk about it because right now it's
Yeah.
affecting me and it's affecting my money, and I get that.
I understand it, but that's not the
fully understand.
the bigger problem.
But that's the part where we're trying to break society away from is the
Poor
the
me.
the woe is me and stuff. It's like we got to think about the future. And, you know, I always talk about living the present, but sometimes you do have to think about what kind of world is this and what kind of world should it be and what can we do our best to make this something where everyone can live and prosper.
And this is the first time I've ever even seen it.
First time.
You know,
And,
like physically seen it.
Absolutely.
I mean, you go through history books and Civil War and all this shit. But now we're here. We're in it. We get to actually view everything that's going on. And there is a better future.
Much better. Because we can't keep living the way we're living, man.
It's fucking disgusting. It's embarrassing.
Awful.
We're the land of the free, and there ain't shit free about it. We have one of the top corrupt fucking government systems. Like, you have senators and legislation getting paid out the ass, and they get to sit on the fucking cabinet or their seat for 30 to 40 fucking years and just get all these bribes, basically, from all these extra outside companies with their own agenda. Mm-hmm. Right? And, like, that alone is a giant problem. Now they've given the DEA to go full fucking force for the next 14 days, and I read that a few days ago, so it's probably down a little bit. But it's like, dude, we have a coward of a fucking president who never should have been president in the first place, regardless of if people thought he's such a good businessman.
But he went bankrupt like 6 times.
And he can run the world like a business. And, like, don't get me wrong, there's probably some half-ass decent shit that he's done, but there's more shit that he hasn't done. And he can't even stand up for his own fucking country. He's a fucking coward, and I'll fucking say it a million times.
I will too.
He's a pile of shit.
A big example of that is you bring in military and you tell voicely globally, you loot, we shoot.
Which in the 60s was the fucking that police chief's. Like,
what?
You're fucking insane, dude.
You're just gonna shoot civilians if they're looting?
In a time of fucking need, you couldn't even do a press conference. Like, he's just a
hid in a
fucking
bunker.
disgusting piece of shit.
And we're
That's
fighting
all it
for
comes down to.
Human rights, so people can have the equality as everyone else.
Yep.
And you hide in a bunker, and then you tell people if you loot, we shoot? That's your resolve?
We need law and order.
You're out of your mind.
We do to a point. But the people who are actually protesting peacefully, that's what a lot of these people aren't comprehending for some reason, is that
they
the
were
protest.
peaceful.
Well, not even that. Okay, I get the rioting. Rioting could be lumped in with some of the protesters, but like the looting, that's a whole different segment of fucking people, man.
Yeah.
You can't, and I get it. It's easy to fucking lump people in together.
It is. But a big thing, I think it's a media agenda, too. They want to make
Media
everyone
wants
look like
fear-mongering.
criminals. Yeah.
They
Media's
want
garbage.
the ratings. They want
The thing-
fear-mongering.
And that's been the thing the whole time. It's like, you do realize there's far more fucking civilians than there are anybody in the government. Mm-hmm. They have to keep us separated because if we fucking band together, they are fucked. I don't care how much fucking firepower they have. We have a lot of fucking gun-savvy regular civilians and people who have been in the military or just maybe that's their hobby. There's enough of those fucking people to help anybody who doesn't understand guns and self-defense tactics. There's enough of those people that a majority would be trained pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just it's always been a separation thing because power is in numbers.
Yep.
And us as civilians, we're the greater number.
Well, even the number part of it, if you think back in the day, like when America did separate from England and all that, we didn't have the numbers or the power. All we had was a different type of fighting. That was
guerrilla warfare.
Exactly. And that's the thing that becomes a whole it's a whole nother thing. Like there's so much
a lot goes into it.
Exactly. Like there's so much going on with all of that mixed in with the fact that like if we get to that point, I mean I pray we don't get to a point where we're literally in the streets shooting each other.
No, but
and it should never have to get to that point, but it can get to that point.
But with you talking
be.
with them wanting to separate, which I think is completely true, but you see it with, like I said, with the media's agenda. They're trying to portray everything because, like, why are these protesters doing what they're doing and the rioting and all that stuff and blah, blah, blah. But I'm so glad. It's like I said with media and, like, cell phones, it's kind of a blessing and curse because everyone is recording everything right now, which is, I think, great. Because all these protesters who've been peacefully protesting are getting point-blank blasted in the face with rubber bullets for no fucking reason. They're getting tear gas. Cops are running through peaceful protests. People are just standing there, pepper spraying them. And then there's undercover cops that are going into fucking, like, the auto zone that burnt down. There's an agenda, and there's white supremacists and undercover police or whoever the hell they are affiliated with who are starting the riots and the burning.
The internet's a powerful fucking place, and we will find you.
But they're 100% trying to put that face on everyone that's trying to fight for the civil rights movement. They're trying to make us like we're the criminals and we're the ones in the wrong and we're the one creating the havoc and the chaos. It's like, no, what do you expect when you have a black man, hands in the air, doing nothing, mask on, and a cop comes up, pulls his mask down, and pepper sprays him in the face? You continuously do that over and over. I don't care. You could have the biggest heart in the world and be the least angry individual of all time. You could be about peace. You do that to somebody enough over and over and the people around him, what do you expect's going to happen? People are going to fight back because that ain't fucking right.
Nope.
Nothing about that. People are losing their eyesight.
Dude.
People are
getting
dying.
Destroyed by fucking tear gas canisters.
And a woman just died because of that tear gas. It affected her asthma. She got hospitalized and then died because of complications.
What freaks me out is, dude, when I thought for sure, maybe this is a little overthinking, but like I thought for sure that if once they brought military in, if anybody got killed from them, I thought it was gonna like turn real ugly.
Oh yeah,
I was like, oh shit. And surprisingly and awesome enough, it hasn't. But
we're walking a very fine line.
It's a fucking thread.
Yep.
It's not. I wouldn't even say fine line. It is like trying to tightrope on a fucking piece of sewing thread.
Yeah, which it made it a little bit more comforting knowing that we've seen a bunch of like National Guard and military personnel like put down riot shields. And one guy, like a general or somebody, voiced like, "Hey, I understand your movement. We understand why you're doing it and what needs to happen. And like, if you want us to stand back aside as you peacefully protest, do your thing, that's what we're gonna do." So like, seeing a little bit of those was kind of nice to know that like people aren't just gonna start shooting each other.
Can we talk about the fake Instagram posts about protesting and stuff? Have you seen any of
Didn't
that
know that
yet?
was a.
What do you mean?
People are photoshopping, like Kylie Jenner was one of them.
Oh,
Holy
yeah.
shit! I literally
It's
just saw
fucking
that before we
disgusting.
started doing
Yeah,
the podcast.
like,
That's
and,
disgusting.
like,
Clout, fucking
or-
Instagram clout. Are you fucking kidding me,
There's a
dude?
video of a person going up and holding a nail gun against a
I saw it.
wall
She got
and
fired.
then went right back in the vehicle and left.
Yep.
She just wanted a photo op of her doing something. And it's like the people that go to the gym, take a picture of them at the gym and leave.
I'm getting so swole, but you've done nothing except
They're
take a
doing the
picture in the
same
mirror.
thing with this.
Really?
People are trying
That's
to
fucking
profit
disgusting.
off of all of this. But
That's disgusting that
going.
people are doing that shit.
Yeah.
And in general, I think that's gross. But in a time like this, that's what you're doing.
yeah.
That is your productivity to a society,
That's what's
to a cause. Like you
people
are
are pissed
fucking problem.
about that. All these all these Instagram influencers and shit like are completely disregarding the civil unrest and everything that's going on around here. Mm-hmm. To continuously take ass pics. Like I was cruising Twitter and I literally saw a dude go, "Get your ass and titties off my fucking timeline. There's more important shit going on."
Yep. I'm gonna piggyback off you when you're finished.
Because here's my OnlyFans, $5. Here's my OnlyFans, half off. Here's my OnlyFans. I don't give a fuck about your tits right now, lady.
No.
And I like tits.
And you like tits. You said it here before.
I don't care.
No.
There's a
I think
problem
like's an understatement on that one.
at
True.
foot.
Right.
Shh. This isn't about you. I get that you're trying to also make money.
Right.
I get that.
It's
But if
just,
it-
Like the personal donation things that have been going around.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, and I understand that people need a de-stressor, a relief of every day. I get that. But because Twitter's the worst for it, dude. Because like,
I believe it.
if somebody likes it, you don't even have to follow that person. You'll just see it, you know? So you get all sorts of fucking weird shit. Like, you got to really pay attention to when the hell you're on Twitter and when you're not on
Right.
Twitter. Because you're going to see shit that if somebody's standing next to you, they're probably going to be like, what the fuck are you looking at, dude?
Right.
That's just
So-
my friend. I'm just supporting.
Yeah, so, I mean, it gets fucking super dicey, but it all kind of full circles back to around, like, the whole influencer thing. Like, they do one post and then it's back to the usual. That's exactly what we do not want.
No, not at all.
It needs to just keep fucking going. You can't just let this shit flatline.
No, cause like on that same note, like this is me personally, because I have the same mindset like that. Like there is so much more bigger happening and so much like change that needs to happen. Like me personally, through this whole thing, I've just posted about what's going on, either voicing my opinion or sharing some things, but it's all related to the Black Lives and the Civil Rights Movement and everything that's going on, the police brutality. I personally have not even wanted to post anything in my own life.
No.
And if like I want a little mental ease, I'm doing that on my own time behind back doors. Like if I need a little stress, because I get it. We're all probably mentally really fucking exhausted.
Yeah.
And so for me, I didn't even want to put, and like I had some work posts, but it related to still what was going on with work not acknowledging what's even going on. So like
Which is
just
absolutely
employee safety and
disgusting
shit.
right
So
out the
it like
gate.
it's still tied into what was going on. That's the only reason I brought work into it. But besides that fact, I haven't posted. I don't want to go on Instagram and post stuff. And I posted that story on our podcast Instagram for people who've seen it. It's been a little lackadaisical, for lack of a better word. We've kind of eased up a little bit on just posting our stuff because I just don't think it's important right now.
No, and I haven't
There's
posted
more-
really anything on Facebook.
I haven't posted
or not
Instagram
Facebook,
or-
but Twitter. But
Anything personal, I'm
It's-
not doing it right now.
you know, besides this podcast, but like, or this episode, I guess, and the things that are going on at foot, it's like, unfortunately, I've stepped back a little bit from the account, and I want to make sure that shit's getting voiced in the right area because it's just us three. You know, we're not a big podcast. We don't have
No.
fucking producers. We don't have all this shit. And sometimes life just gets fucking super bogged down. And right now is one of those times where it's like there's really important shit that needs to be taken care of. And as everybody else knows, like you're going to spend, I mean, how many hours did you spend on Facebook just, you know, trying to do your best to get your voice heard and to get others voice is heard.
It's
it's a lot of time, right?
I've never been on Facebook more in my life since I had it until now.
Yeah. So all I'm saying is forgive us, for not being as active. We're active on our own accounts, but this is also a hobby. So we're trying to make sure everything's pushed in the right direction.
Right.
And that's one thing I want to say too is, I know some people come to this podcast to get a break from reality, to get a quick laugh in. We've seen some posts about that, and we understand that this week's a little bit different, but this is something that we felt that needed to be done. And
yep, absolutely.
We're still gonna be around to make you laugh. We're still gonna be around to make you, do all the things we normally do. It's
absolutely.
just, there's some times where you have to, even if it's a small platform, and we have to do what we have to do.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's obviously a history of time that we need to keep acknowledging and voicing as it goes. So it's just, for us, it's just more important to focus on that than like our own stuff. But
just
we
saying
also
dumb
have,
shit.
Saying dumb shit. And like, best friends of ours are black. And for me, it was
people I consider family.
Family.
Yep.
100% family. Like, I don't give a shit, blood. It does not matter to me. These are family. This is family to me. And so when this all started happening, I knew my part was I needed to be there for them as much as I possibly can. Because they're already going through a lot as is. Yep. And it's just, there was just so much more priority to me that made more sense than personal stuff or...
And not like we haven't been with them all the time.
No, it's just...
But now more than ever.
Not more than ever.
And I know
just with the community and the whole black community, man.
Yeah, I've personally not been around as much as you guys have with all of this. I've been having a lot more, like we talked about earlier, trying to figure out ways to express without coming off as a jerk or a insensitive person because of just my personality in general. Mm-hmm. And it's just hard for me to... I like, there's specifically a couple people I know I need to talk to, and I feel horrible about not being around as much as I should.
But I can also respect that
because it's self-acknowledgement, right?
Yeah,
I can respect that a ton.
It's self-acknowledgement, and you're trying to make sure that what you want to say in your heart is coming out of your actual mouth.
Yes, and it's constructive in the meaning that you want it to come out as.
So I can respect the shit out of that.
Absolutely,
man.
Me too.
And obviously, this was something we probably should have done episode 9.
Yep, and I honestly, I voiced that through the Instagram story.
We thought about that, and it was kind of like a holy shit. What we were in kind of disarray,
like
everybody else.
What's going on?
Yeah, it's when everything really kind of peaked.
But I'm also kind of glad we did wait a bit because there's more information out, and there's a lot more things going on.
Yeah, more things have actually happened, or
it's given us a better. We're still learning every single day, but it's given us a better.
And that's all this is about, is learning.
Yeah.
Educate yourself.
Again,
it's not impossible to change. You got to want to change.
You got to want to change.
You got to understand that what's happening isn't right, and get after it. You know,
self-evaluation.
Even if
huge.
you don't necessarily have to treat it like a job, but I mean, get after it. I mean, learn some shit. If you're not a big reader, the internet, man. We got the internet. You can watch movies, you can watch videos, and obviously, in the same sense, it's the internet. So you do have to do a little bit of research, figure out, make sure that what you're looking at, reading, listening to, watching, whatever, you got to make sure that is also true.
And don't impulse completely off of it. Think about it. Take it in. Digest what you see, what you hear. Digest what you feel. Make sure that what you're going to say is what you truly feel. Because if you don't, what you're going to do is you're going to either dig yourself a hole you can't get out of, or you're going to hurt someone you truly care about.
Or talk to somebody face to face about it and be like, is this, you know, I mean, to me, it's crazy to fathom that you don't have a single, it's crazy that you don't have a single black person that you've met throughout your life that you don't fucking love. Because I have a ton of them. Mm-hmm. I have a fucking ton of them. And whether they be people you work with, whatever, just get information. Just learn about their shit, man.
Ask them about them.
Now more than ever.
And sit back and just take in everything they have to say.
And a cool thing with that, in the same realm of what we're talking about now. It was on TikTok. I was kind of, and the cool thing is Black Lives Matter things are on everything now.
Oh, yeah.
And I've never seen it like that. But there was a 4-part little thing on TikTok. It was like just a 4-part videos. And it was this guy who was racist.
Yep.
White individual, and he called into a woman who was like a broadcaster or something, who happened to be a black female. And he came in right away saying, I am prejudiced. First thing he says. And she's like, where am I going to have to go with this guy? And immediately, after saying the statement of him being prejudiced, he said, what can I do and how can I go about changing that?
Yes.
And this dude took steps. She gave this whole list of everything, just like understanding black culture. If there's a black individual in your neighborhood or anywhere, just if you can come up to them nicely and just let them talk to you, explain things. Like she gave a whole list. Mm-hmm. And sure shit, this white individual went and he bought book after book on black culture and black history. He talked to black people in his neighborhood that he didn't talk about. He learned about black cultural restaurants and all this other shit in his neighborhood he didn't even know when he lived in his entire life at.
Yep.
And this whole guy's perspective, it went completely backwards. He lost the prejudice. He lost his racism. Him and this black broadcaster, then she said, I have now gained a friend.
Yes.
It was wild, the perspective and the life change this guy had. But the thing was, he wanted to change, and
Yes.
you got to want to change.
Yep.
It was phenomenal. And if everyone could just, like you and Barry are saying, self-evaluate, but like sit down with a black individual and just learn, listen. Oh, you just got to open your ears.
I mean, most of them would be pretty happy that you're taking the time to ask them
Yeah,
their
absolutely.
experiences. What do you know? Like, what am I doing wrong? That's all.
Yep.
That's a lot of the issue. What am I doing wrong?
What am I doing wrong?
What can I do to fix this? Because at the end of the day, the only difference is what encases your fucking bones and organs.
And
The color.
Right.
A color.
And it's insane that we have to fight as hard as we do so somebody with a different color can be as equal as whoever's ever around them.
Yeah. It's fucking bananas. It's fucking
Like that should just been natural. Everyone should
Yeah.
have just been equal
yeah.
from day one. But
Yeah.
obviously the world's never worked that way.
It's just not a human. The problem is humans.
Humans.
We're humans.
Yeah.
And humans are fucked up.
And
Straight up. Like, that's just a thing.
yep.
Always have been. Mm-hmm. But we also were blessed with advanced brains. We can change that. We can make that a fucking not a thing.
Right. And we can change the fucking world if we want to.
Yeah.
Like we should.
Absolutely.
And I hope most people have that same. And it looks like a big majority of the world
Does.
obviously does.
Yeah.
And I
I
just
mean-
hope it doesn't seize because I think, like Barry said, it might take a long fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
But if it needs to, and we keep striving for year on year and year and not stopping that movement and that momentum on changing the world and changing the lives of people who've suffered for so long, then I'll go year to year, dude,
Yeah.
fighting for it as well.
Yep. I mean, 2020 is the year of uncomfortable conversations, man.
Absolutely. I mean,
And it should have been that. It should be that every year.
every year. Honestly,
you
yeah.
hold people fucking accountable, man. That's the only way people change. Mm-hmm. It's the only way people. Hey, you don't necessarily have to do it in an asshole way,
No.
but hold them accountable. And for me, it sucks to say, but it's like, don't be afraid to lose somebody if they just don't get it.
No.
And don't, as hard as it's going to be, try not to dwell on that fact. Because there's a ton of people that just don't care. They don't.
They just
It is what it is to them.
unfortunately don't.
And that's their prerogative.
Right.
But it's comforting to see that a vast majority do want that change.
Yes, it's very comforting. I've never seen anything hit the way it has, especially. I mean, we've had protests with other incidents with police brutality and shit,
But
but
nothing.
nothing on the
lines
level
of this.
that we've seen now. I mean,
Yeah.
it's heartwarming to see how everything has happened with who's been vocalizing, who's been helping, the whole 9 yards on the whole
Yeah.
problem. It's very heartwarming, but obviously there's
There's a lot of work to be
a
done.
ton of work to do. And it's just I want to live in a world where everyone can be themselves.
I mean, I've talked about it since I live on East Side, and like, there's a lot of like I don't know what it is. I mean, and this is just my experiences, but there's a lot of neighborhoods that are predominantly white, and if you drive by them, the blinds are drawn. There's no activity, there's no fun, there's no nothing, there's no community.
No.
Right? And like in school, you learn about that whole American dream thing, and you see people out hanging out, and everybody's buddies, and all this shit.
Yep.
What I love about the East Side, dude, is like it's a heavily Hmong populated area.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, there's nothing cooler than fucking coming home from work, and there's like house after house, and everybody's just vibing together.
They're in their yards.
They're barbecuing.
Whatever.
You got people going, "Hey, man, I'm a white guy, and what's up, dude? Fucking, we got a bunch of this food. Like, what are you trying to fucking smash on? Like, who are you? Where do you live? What do you like? Dude,
Yep.
they gave a shit.
Yeah.
That's fucking cool. There's
Yep.
a lot of like white communities for whatever fucking reason are so non-inclusive,
Mm-hmm.
and it fucking baffles me, man. Which is funny because literally we have taken all the cool shit white people know is from black people.
Yeah.
All
Other
of our
cultures
music.
in general, like,
Yeah.
I mean, you look at movies and stuff like that from the Asian culture and stuff like that. I mean, we've gotten so much stuff from everybody, and
That we consume
There's a reason why
nonstop.
America was known as a melting pot,
Yep.
where it just brings in cultures, and we take that and we just usually take it and build off of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, food, music, movies, entertainment in general. Sports, everything comes from all over.
And
There's-
music is huge, dude. Music is so fucking big because we wouldn't have nearly any of the genres
We'd have
that
polka.
we have.
If even that might be from Europe. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think anything was... America was brought all these things that from there it mutated into something else.
Yep.
And changed, and it became something, and it decided to evolve into a way where people enjoy it so much, and you take an instrument from one culture and an instrument from another and then one more from a third, and you put them together, and it makes this type of sound that just is perfect in so many ways.
Jazz alone, like we wouldn't have rock, like B.B. King, like
Yep.
all these people, like
You
wouldn't
gotta
have-
step back and listen and understand what comes
just
from
analyze
everything.
a little bit. Like you don't. It doesn't take that much of your time to just get a broad spectrum. It doesn't. And there's another band that I listen to called the Fever 333. They did a live broadcast, and
Oh, man, that was
Jason Allen,
Incredible.
black as well. And he was talking, and it fucking hit, and I was like, fucking so true. As a white guy, I look at shit entertainment-wise, fashion-wise, all these things that I go, no fucking way as a white guy I could ever pull that off. That is not a thing for me. Their dancing, their ability, like they have a different mind, man. And I don't know if it's brought through from just it's just their life, right? And like, dude, their ability to make music and make genres. They make their own fucking genres, and they do it cooler than anybody else could.
Oh, yeah.
And blows my mind, man. I think it's the coolest shit ever.
Absolutely.
So like, I don't know, man. We're built on fucking stolen ground and free labor.
Yeah.
I don't know where else to go with that.
We stole the land, and then...
It's all bullshit.
The land was built on...
It's all bullshit. We need to fucking make it right.
People.
Like,
yeah,
we need to make it as right as we can.
Yeah.
That's it.
Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. It's hard for me to fathom. It's just such a perspective thing. Like, just, it's plain and day, and not to see that there's not, it. I mean, going back to the all lives matter statements. Obviously all lives matter, and they should all matter. But people are pulling anything they want to away from the sole problem, to argue it, to fight it any way, the means they possibly can, which I don't understand, because we're fighting for the rights of people who've been oppressed for so long. We're just trying to fight for the equal rights for them to have along with everyone else. But it's like, all lives obviously fucking matter, but the point is, right now, the lives who matter are black lives. They're the ones who are suffering. They're the ones who are fighting. And we need to stand with them by their side, hand in hand, in fighting that fucking movement right alongside them. And the same aspect, if like a house is on fire and we say, hey, we should go put that fire out on that house because we have a problem. And 3 houses down, you have a neighbor who goes, well, why does my house matter? Well, yours isn't on fire. Like this one over here is, well, all houses matter, and so does mine. Why can't... The problem's over here. I mean, it just, when you put it in a difference, it sounds retarded when you're like, all lives matter. No shit. And all the houses would matter. But the one that's on fucking fire right now is where we need to be fixing a problem. Absolutely. That's what we need to be solving.
Absolutely.
Nobody, again, it goes back to people taking things out of context. And it's just, you got to be open-minded. You got to be open-minded. You got to be willing to see perspective, put yourself in other shoes. And if you happen to be white, I think it's really fucking important for you to do that as a white person. Because a big reason the black community has been so fucking oppressed is because of white culture.
Mm-hmm.
Which is barely a culture in general if you think about it.
Right.
Like,
I won't even argue that.
Like we don't have, all our culture is a mixture of all other cultures that we claim to be our own culture, and it's that alone should tell you that it's important to have all these other cultures around. Because we don't have anything. I mean,
and I've said it before, dude. Like
America's a melting pot.
Like like you think about it, like my family's barely been here. Like a lot, like. I'm like there's a bunch of different like cultures from even though it's still white, it's European. Like there's no true American culture.
Right. Yeah.
A lot of people are only 3rd, 4th generation people here.
Yep.
Right.
Like we don't have much.
However, most African American people are multiple generations beyond us that have been here.
Yep.
And that alone says something.
Just only thing we're really asking is to sit
think
back
about
and think about it. Sit back and evaluate what's really important in your life, what really truly matters, and sit down and think. And just actually freaking don't just be like, oh, I'm going to read something online and that's you think. No, actually sit down, get away from your phone, get away from anything. Sit in your freaking room and think about what you truly feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you have to put yourself aside.
An honest try. Don't just try because right now it's a problem and later you don't.
And I'm not saying that we're perfect about it. Like I'm still doing it. I'm still every day like I'm eating myself up trying to figure out ways to project myself and figure out, and reevaluate my life in general and what is, what's going on and everything like that. I'm a perfect example of the fact of that.
Yeah.
And with trying to learn and evaluating and acknowledging everything, taking the time to listen, like we've been saying, it's like, if you have black friends, like, it's incredible to know how much a difference it actually makes. Reach out to your black friends.
Check on
them. Make sure they're okay. Make sure their families are right. If they're safe or how they're doing. If they need a helping hand with anything, anything. If they just need somebody to listen to them, reach out.
Yeah.
I haven't reached out to all my black friends, but I've reached out to a good portion of my black friends, and it's like you just not only self-evaluating and learning and listening, but reach out. Make sure
everything's good.
Make sure things are good. Make sure they're safe.
As good as they can be.
Good as they can be.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that we could fucking wrap it up on that.
Yeah, I'm afraid that we're going to start talking in circles at this point.
Yeah, we could. I mean, it's obviously a subject that probably could be talked for days on.
Yeah.
But like you said, some things probably get reiterated, looped back around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't want to be doing that. We're just trying to make, multiple different points and views and perspectives and
something to think about. And
just think and everybody love everybody. That's all I care about. Everyone love everyone and just fucking be good. Be good people.
It's just human decency, man. It comes down to being a human being and wanting the human being right next to you to have the exact same rights and equality as you do. If we can all live together peacefully as one, and it'd be an incredible world to live in. Tell you what. But I just hope everyone just keep vocalizing your opinions, your thoughts, your perspectives. Keep listening. Keep learning. keep involving yourself in helping the community in any ways means are possible that you possibly can. Reach out to people, reach out to, the donation centers and fundraisers. Try to be any way helpful to humanity as possible and helping the black community who needs it fucking bad. Who's needed it bad.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So
we're going to get out of here. We're going to let you enjoy the rest of your Monday. We love you. Thanks for listening.
One love, everybody. Thank you again.
We'll see you next Monday.